Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Skeshbook podcast. This is part two of, art and drawing and making money with art. This is sort of like a thing, sort of like an extension of the previous podcast. So, what we're going to do in this podcast is I'm going to be discussing or talking about my thought process on making a living and making money out of art and making a living as an artist. And I'm going to share some principles and structures as to how I go about it and how I think about it, and also going to go over my business model of how I'm doing it, and also give you guys examples of business models of people in the industry who are doing the same thing, making a living out of art. So that's what we're going to do in this episode. Let's get into it, shall we? So, yes, now it's Corona season right now. Hopefully, everyone's at home. Hopefully, everyone's good. I highly recommend that you wash your hands. Really, it's really an underrated way of stopping the disease from spreading. And I just wanted to say this before we start the podcast, man, because I see a lot of dumb people out there who are doing some really dumb stuff, such as gathering and doing protests at the time of worldwide pandemic. This is how my priorities go, right? I would not go out. This is how it works for me. I just want to share this before we even get into this, right? Zombie apocalypse. No. Alien invasion, zombie apocalypse, worldwide pandemic, World War III, other bullshit crap, then you protesting against some goddamn bill. Meaning, the thing is, right, like people, I just saw this news yesterday where 5,000 people have gathered after the government has issued a mandate saying, don't come out, man, don't come out. They've stopped, closed all schools and, all the government thingies, the gyms, the swimming pools, all the institutions, universities, everything's closed. And these people are like taking it like a vacation. 5,000 people, really 5,000. Wow. It's like a cesspool for the virus to spread. So, yeah. Anyways, in the words of Philip DeFranco, don't be stupid, people. No. Don't be stupid. That's what he says. So, yeah, I highly recommend you don't do that. There's a time and place for us to voice our opinions. Now is not the time. So, practice social distancing as much as you can. Wash your hands. Be careful. Be responsible. Be a good citizen. And don't spread the disease to your parents. It's as simple as that. If you're young, you'll survive. If you're old and have some immune problems, it's going to be bad for those people. So be responsible. That's what I want to say before we get into this podcast. Well, we're going to talk about money. I had to make that joke. So anyways, yeah. So my thought process on making money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over, say, how I go about making a living as an artist. I've been doing this for since 2017. So 2017, 2018, 2019, and now we're at 2020. And 2019 and 2020, ever since the end of 2018, I've been doing good. And 2019 it has really picked off. 2020 things are looking even better, and we're gonna do even more better. That's how it's going for me. As a artist, I've been into this world of making a living out as an artist in the freelance world. I don't know how you call this thing, independent artist. I think that's what I am right now, right? I don't work for anyone. I've had a day job. I've had one day job, in 2015, right out of college for 8 months. And other than that, I haven't worked for anybody else because I've realized for me, I'm better off working for myself rather than for somebody else. So again, at the end of this, right, what I'm about to sort of share with you, sort of quote unquote entrepreneurial or in businessy in nature. So that means you have to ask yourself if you are the kind of person who has the DNA of working for themselves, or is it better for you to hand over that thing to somebody else? Some damn people's calling me at that time. Man, I need to switch off my phone. So, well, let me just switch off my phone. Yeah, switched off. I think we'll keep that part in. See, this is how the podcast rolls. So, where was I? Jesus. Yeah, you need to ask yourself, right? Self-awareness. Can you handle that nature the risky nature of going into business for yourself or by yourself, because business at the end of the day, even though it's all fun, it's very fun actually, it's very creative and fun, and it's very nice. Is it something for you? And you need to be self-aware as to say, you need to ask those questions. I just want to put that question out there so that you get into the process of thinking about that thing. But anyways, regardless of that, I'm going to show you how I do it, right? The thing is, basic principle, business 101, money making 101, right? This is how it goes for me. If you want to make money, or if you want to make a living as an artist, the number one rule, without exception, without any form of question or debate, is this. Sashi, put this in big black bold font on the video. Add value. I repeat, value. Add value. This is how the world works. So I'm going to explain some basic principles so that will set up a structure for us to discuss the business models in how people are doing this. Adding value. What does that mean? We live in a world where people live in a sort of a communal setting, in the sense, my survival depends, or my thriving depends on how useful I am for myself and for the people around me in the society. That's why we grow up, we study, we get an education, we get a job, we do this, we start a business, we go out and try something, we go and achieve something, right? How useful you are to yourself and other people in the society. And how do you be useful? You add value. At least, right? That's a basic point. You need to add value. You need to add value in terms of, say for example, right? I mean, if you want something from someone, you need to give something to them so that they will give you what they have. This is what the typical barter system is, right? In the olden days, where they exchange things, goods for, bro, I'll give you my sheep, you give me a bag of rice, right? I don't think they used the word bro back then, but I'm sure you get the idea, right? So this is barter. And right now, barter is very hard to keep track of because commodities have different kinds of value. And it's very hard. What I have is something that you may not want. You may not want my sheep, but I might want your rice, right? So we use this common thing called money, right? This paper that holds universal value that we exchange so that we can easily exchange goods and services between people. This is how the world works. You need to understand that you as a person need to be useful, you need to be of service, and you need to add value to sort of make a living, aka money, right? Making a living is way different than making a life, right? Life more encompassing, living, making money. That's how I define it anyways, right? So that means step one, you just need to stop being just an artist. You need to add the business elements of being an artist into your life. Meaning, being just an artist means creating for yourself, for your passion and for your own self-love, and that process, that for the love of that process, right? That is being an artist. You're creating for yourself. And for most of the time, when you put that creation out there, people are going to like it, and they're going to love it, and they're going to pay you something for it. Or, man, kids are shouting these days, man, Jesus Christ. Okay. So there are kids in my apartment, they keep shouting and really cuts my flow off. Anyway, so yeah, that's called being an artist, right? You're creating for yourself. But when you add making a money or making a living into it, right, you need to go from the place of being an artist, which is I, to others, because that's how it works. You need to go from a place of selfishness. I'm not using this word selfishness in a wrong connotation, right? It's okay to be selfish sometimes. Going from the place of I, me, to others, of adding value, right? You need to ask yourself, what is it that I can do? What is it that I have that can be useful to other people, so that in exchange they will give me my money. I mean, not my money, their money, right? That's how it works. You need to be of service to other people. You need to add value to other people. This is how I sort of think about business and making money. And this is way more easier for me to think about it in such a way, instead of for most people, right? People have a bad misconception, right? Or a common, no, what does that mean? Bad misconception? That's not a word. They have a common misconception, which is business is bad, right? People who are businessy are in this for the money, and they want to make profit, and profit is bad and money is bad, right? Like, I used to be that kind of guy who used to say, money is bad and making money is bad. And, I used to not make money because I thought if I make money, it's going to be less for the other people out there. Like, literally, that's how I thought. That's like stupid people's economics. So that's another discussion for another day, right? I used to feel guilty. The thing is, the more you make, the more you serve, the more value you add, that is more reflected in your bank account. At least that's how I think about it, right? You need to be a useful member in the society. You need to add stuff to other people. At least you need to be useful for yourself, which in turn will be useful for other people. That's how I think about it, right? So this is the first part. If you want to make money as an artist, you need to add value. You need to provide services. You need to think of yourself as not just an artist, but also as a businessman or a businesswoman who in turn asks, what is it that I can do to add or give some sort of a product or service to another person, which in turn they'll give me something else, which in turn can be used for you to make more products, make more services, right? Like Walt Disney said, we don't make movies to make money. We make money to make movies. That's the principle. That's the idea right there. All right. Now, let's get down to the specifics, people. What does that mean when I say, what does it mean when I say be of service, be of, add value, right? We need to be more specific. We need to cut these things down and break it down. And I want to give you guys the specifics because I just don't want to give you like large scale thing, like metaphysical, esoteric words and just call it a day. I want to give you guys the specifics. All right. So the key to making money as an artist, of course, adding value. Okay. There are, in my book, 4 ways that you can add value. There are obviously way more ways, but to simplify things down of what's being sold and bought in the world and in the market, here are 4 ways. 1, you can add value by information, adding information and providing information to people. 2, entertainment, by entertaining people, right? Entertainment is a big industry. People want to be entertained. 3, products. You can create useful products or useless products. People sometimes want useless products. I have I have some of these toys. This toy right here that's sitting on my table. It's sort of useless in the sense it doesn't have much use to itself, but it's actually a product that's entertaining for me to watch, right? It's a mixture. So number 3 is products. Number 4 is services. You provide services with your art, with your drawing, with your illustration. So all these things can sort of overlap with each other. Information can join with entertainment, and entertainment can join with information, or information can join with products, or products can join with entertainment, right? Service with entertainment. All these things can go along with each other. So what are some of the ways that you can be useful as an artist? I'm going to talk from the point of myself, which is I'm an illustrator. I'm a video producer. I make illustrations, drawings, and cartoons. And, I make online courses. I make classes. I teach workshops. So I do these things. So I'm going to talk from that point of view. If you're coming from the world of fine art, or if you're coming from any other kinds of art styles where the style sort of differs, the principles can apply. So I'm just going to talk from my point of view, right? Let's break things down one by one. Information, entertainment, products, and services. All right. So if you're an artist, if you're an illustrator who draws cartoons and does character design, who does world building, who makes comics and children's books and things like that, Here are the options that are available for you. Number one, from the point of information, what can you do? Right. If you are a practitioner of art, if you have spent so many years learning art, learning character design, learning how to make comics, learning how to create cartoons and characters and things like that, you can actually share that process with other people in exchange of some sort of value, aka money in this case, right? That's what people want to know. How do I make money, right? So you can share this in forms of how-tos, tutorials, books, and workshops and online courses, and even physical actual schools or even online schools, right? For example, how-tos, Earthington Brothers, hopefully I'm pronouncing their name right. They put these short, what do you call this thing? One-page Instagram tutorials on their Instagram profiles and Twitter profiles. And at the end of it, after 100 tutorials or something on art and drawing, they collect all those tutorials and release a book, right? See, that's one right there. That's one option right there. Tutorials. Ross Tran of Ross Draws, right? He has a Patreon profile where he sort of provides exclusive tutorials to people. There you go. That's another way of doing things. He's doing that. All these people are practitioners of art. They didn't just start from the day one where they are like, hey, you know what? I'm just starting art today and I want to make money. Yay, I'm going to sell tutorials. No, don't be like that. That's called being a snake oil salesman, right? Don't sell snake oil. I don't know if snakes make oil. Do they? I don't know. I don't think so. Right? So yeah, workshops. I teach workshops, right? I teach workshops and I sell online courses. That's how I make my bread and butter as an artist. I don't eat a lot of butter, but I do eat a lot of bread. I need to make a lot of bread. So workshops where you go and teach people, where you share something of value that you have collected over the years. I spent, nearly 5, 6, 7 years trying to figure out how to sort of, go about character design, cartooning and things like that. But a lot of people have done that. I need to differentiate myself from the market. So how do I do that? I go ahead and I'm so damn good at presentation and the way I structure and package my information. I don't find a lot of people doing that. So that's my plus point. That's why people come to my workshops and they're like, damn, Keshav, I'm absolutely blown away by this thing. I'm not even kidding. I was just reading all the reviews from the previous workshops. Some people are like rate out of 5 stars, and like some people are giving like 6 stars and 7 stars. Like, people stick with 5 stars. I'm not saying this to brag or like sort of show off, sort of inspire upon you, which is one of the tips right here, is to differentiate yourself in the market. What are some of the strengths that you have, right? That you can use to offer something of value and something of use to other people. So I do workshops and courses and things like that. School, right? I'm in the process of creating school, but there are wonderful online art schools out there that are created by industry professionals such as CGMA, Schoolism, svslearn.com. These are all business models where they have sort of created something out of art, out of illustration, out of drawing, right? The thing is, you need another skill to sort of make this information thing good, which is you need to be good at teaching. Most people who are good at art are not good at teaching. Most people who are good at teaching, they're not good at art. So you need to sort of master these two skills. But anyways, the world of information, these are the things. Books, another example, Mark Crilly, one of my favorite artists on YouTube, right? A legendary artist in my opinion, because he's been so long. Did you know, fun fact, he's the first ever YouTube artist or if you want to call him that, an artist on YouTube to actually reach 1 million subscribers. He's the very first guy. And I remember that day because it's like, man, I didn't know that you can hit such numbers being an artist, right? So that's a fun fact right there. He makes a lot of these how-to books called Mastering Manga. He makes a lot of books on comics and making anime and chibi drawings and things like that. He makes these tutorials on YouTube. So these are all the things, right? You can also make YouTube videos, right? And you put out interesting tutorials on YouTube. And one way you can earn a good decent living is by partnering with brands who are willing to work with you and doing brand integrations and sponsored ad deals, and through ad revenue, and you come up with your own product later on and you sell that. That's how you do it, right? I'm going ahead of myself. So anyways, information, this is how you do it. But remember, you need to be a practitioner first. You need to be a good artist first. You need to learn how to teach and be good at teaching first before you go into this thing, right? If you're starting out and saying, Keshav, I'm starting out right now, I'm not good at art, but I want to do workshops but I'm not making any money, then I would say you don't deserve making money right now. I know that might sound harsh, but the thing is, if you don't make money, then you don't make money, because the market decides whether you deserve making money or not. And it might look like a crude reality, but the thing is, you need to sort of take that as a way of getting feedback from other people as to whether what you are providing is valuable or not. Hopefully, I think I put that sentence properly. So you get the idea. You need to sort of not rush things. You need to wait. And when you make money or when you make a living, you make a living. I have a couple of people who have sort of told me that they're taking workshops, and I've taught them personally, and they're in no way, shape or form to teach workshops, but they're still teaching workshops. And I don't know. I don't think people will derive a lot of value from them, but they're doing it, and the market is deciding it's okay that they're doing it. And hey, if the market decides, I don't mind. But at the end of the day, right, don't rush things. You'll spoil your name and also the people in your field, the name of other people in your field. So if you're not ready, if you're not good, don't do it. Don't go into the space of information. Don't be the snake oil salesman. So that's one. Next up, entertainment. How do you make money as an artist being in the entertainment field? Now, how do you do that? One, movies, TV shows, animation. Animated shows, animated movies. If you are good at character design, you can join a studio and become a character designer for that studio. Or if you are a good illustrator, if you're a good landscape painter, if you're a good background painter, if you are a good animator, you can join some studio and make a living such that. Or what you can do is, you build up a following on YouTube. I'm going to give you guys, throw business models at you guys, right? Like constantly. Start a YouTube channel, share your journey as an animator or a creator who's learning animation or making animation, right? Build up a following, add value, then you launch a Kickstarter and produce your own movie or short film or whatever, right? People are doing this on multiple levels. Like people are doing this on a small scale and people are doing this on a large scale. This is how the thing is, getting into the quote unquote industry is sort of hard, right? Art is a very risky business, I'll tell you that. Entertainment is a risky business. It's always like, it feels like you're standing on like a house of cards. It feels like it's going to crumble anytime soon. Even I've spoken to some really good professional illustrators in the field. They tell me that even though after 25 years of doing this, business feels risky, and that's how it's always going to be. You need to have the DNA of being okay with that riskiness and of that uncertainty, because the value you're going to get from it is way, way, way more. So, of course, you can get to a point where you can sort of stabilize things, but yeah, you get the idea. So, entertainment, right? Books can be a sort of entertainment as well, right? You can make children's books. Children's books are a sort of entertainment for children, right? Jake Parker is a wonderful children's book illustrator. Will Terry is a children's book illustrator, right? I remember reading this book from some author called the Little Red Riding Hood, right? It's a children's book. When I was a kid, I used to just keep on flipping through that book whenever the power outage is there and I cannot watch TV, because that was entertaining for me, right? Art is being used as a medium of entertainment right there and at that particular person. Now, guys, before I go on to the next couple of things, right, I want to tell you that, see, these are all face level ways of going through things, right? in the future podcast, I'll go through each and every single one of these things, or most of these things, in a very detailed way on how to go about executing this. Because, right, saying that, oh, you know what, there's a job as you being an animator in this particular studio, it's easy to say that. How do you execute that and make that happen? Of course, I need time to sort of put that into effect and show, give you guys a process and things like that. But anyways, that is for later, right? You can be an entertainer through YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. For example, ZHC, right? A good artist, a really good artist. He's one of a few artists who have sort of turned art into a good form of entertainment for people, right? I see him. He's done a fantastic job turning art as an entertainment through his YouTube channel. And Draw with Jazza has done the same thing. And how do they make money? You ask, how do they do that? Well, it's simple. One, they have built their business up to such a scale that the ad revenue itself is a good source, but that is a small source compared to, say, the brand integrations and the brand sponsorships that they get for each and every video. Because we live in a time of social media, right? And marketing agencies and products and companies want to reach out to you because your video has 3 million views. Man, I want to collaborate with you, right? I want to put my product in the eyes of 3 million views. I'm going to pay $20,000 right now. I'm going to do that, right? That's how it works. Entertainment, right? YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, right? These are all sort of forms and ways of entertainment. And that's all I want to say about it, right? There are ways for me to go about this in detail, but I don't think that's going to be for another podcast. But this is just to sort of give you guys a overall picture. Next up, products. You can make products out of your art. How do you do that? Merchandise, books, posters, stickers, right? Other thingies that you can put your art on. For example, Alicia Souza, a wonderful illustrator from Bangalore, who I know, who I had the opportunity to meet once. She's a very lovely person, by the way. She has a merchandise company called Alicia Souza, one of the very first people in this field to sort of come and take this entire doodling scene on by storm, and also putting her products on these merch and products and sell it to other people. She has got a very good company called Alicia Souza. She sells all kinds of things, from planners to jot books to stickers and posters and prints and enamel pins. She's done a fantastic job with that, right? That's how you do it. That's how you build. And again, I'm not sort of trivializing things and saying, hey, you know what, go ahead and start a successful business, right? I'm not trying to trivialize things. This podcast is about giving you an idea on, none of this is easy, by the way, none of this is easy, but just to give you an idea. That's the main thing. Alicia's House is one example. And there are a couple of other artists who I know who sort of sell physical products and things like that. And also you can sell digital products, right? I know artists who sell their book drawings, put them into a collection, and sell it as a digital product. I think something happened there. Okay, right? So you can sell digital products. This is where information and digital products sort of combine. See, I'm selling courses right now. That is a digital product. That's how I treat it as. And every single time I make a course, I ask myself, is this adding value to the people? Is it being useful? That's my marker right there. That's a digital product. And that's how I think about it. And for me, that is like sort of like buying a bar of soap from the supermarket. That's the kind of mindset. It's a product. It's a physical product that doesn't exist, but that is digital. That's how I think about it. So, products, services in the world of freelance illustration, right? You can go be a designer, a graphic designer, an illustrator, a motion graphics artist, or an animator. For example, since we live in a social media age, here's a tip. What you can do is you can go ahead and offer your services for people who wants things like illustrations for their Instagram profile, illustrations for their Facebook page, YouTube, thumbnail, I don't know, LinkedIn profiles, or they want illustrations for their brand websites, and they want, say, designs and motion graphics for their brand video that they're making. This is what ad agencies do, right? Ad and marketing agencies. I worked in one, and this is what I see, right? They bring in clients and they get the deal from them, and they have people working under them, which is illustrators and video producers and motion graphic artists, copywriters, social media analysts and managers. They all combine together and they make and build that brand's presence on social media, right? Illustrations. You as an illustrator, right? You can get approached by Pepsi tomorrow and sort of, you can make a doodle or an illustration or a poster for Pepsi that they can put on their profile, provided your work is, of course, that interesting and attractive, right? That's just an example. Going in the freelance market. So an example here would be Chaya Prabhat, is a Chennai-based illustrator who I absolutely admire. She's got this wonderful style, which is very hard to put my finger on, but she's done an amazing job. And she does children's books. She's worked for Google, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, right? She's sort of done illustrations for them. Even if you open up your YouTube stories, right, you can actually see her, stickers on those things, those flat stickers. If you're in India, you can see those stickers actually. She did them, right? She did a Google Doodle. She illustrates, covers for books, things like that, right? So this is a person who I personally know in the world of freelance illustration. I don't personally know her. Actually, I've spoken to her a bit here and there on the Instagram DMs, but man, I would love to have her on the podcast. Chaya, if you're listening to this, I'd love to have you on the podcast. So anyways, this is an example right there. Services. You provide your service. For me, in my mind, I think even entertainment is a service that's being provided to people. The stuff you watch on Amazon Prime, the stuff you watch on Netflix, I'm getting entertainment out of it, but it is a service that they are providing for me to get that entertainment out of it. So yeah, these are the 4 things, 4 ways of adding value to people. Information, through entertainment, through products, and through services. Alrighty, now on to the business model, people. How do you execute this? Put this into practice, and how do you do this? Well, here's what I want to do first right now. First, I want to clarify a couple of more things. Hopefully, I'm being clear on this podcast. If not, please leave a comment down below. I'd like to be more clear on the future podcast, because I don't want to be that guy who just wants to just share face value information. I want to give you guys some actual stuff, right? Business model, right? How me, Keshav Ratnavel, that's my full name, by the way, if you didn't know, is doing it. 1, this is how I have set up my business. 1, it always starts with me adding value to people. That is number 1 goal and priority. At the end of the day, for me, if you go into a deep level, for me, I am not able to find a lot of meaning in a lot of things I do. But one of the things that really sort of meaningfully excites me is sort of knowing that someone has gotten something of use from me, right? How do I do that? I do that through my YouTube videos. I do that through my Instagram posts. I do that through my podcast. You're listening to this podcast. Hopefully you're entertained, and hopefully I'm adding value to you. If I'm also hoping that you're being entertained by this, right? With all my stuttering by there, right? This is how I do it. I add value for free for people. I give this out through challenges, through sharing my process. This is my biggest way of adding value to people. If you are new, if you're starting out, and if you don't have something to say, don't fret. Just share your process. Instead of going on the internet and saying, I'm an expert on this particular thing and giving that to people, rather say, you know what, hey, my name is blah, 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 and I'm starting out on blah, 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 and I don't know a damn little thing about blah, 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 right? But hey, I'm going to learn about it, and I'm going to share my process with you guys. That's how you do it. You share the process. Weirdly, one of the things that social media sort of enabled us is people are way more attracted to the process rather than the result itself in the world of social media, at least. People are more interested in vlogs than short films, because vlogs is more of a behind the scenes. People are more interested in sketches on Instagram rather than finished illustrations and artwork pieces, because it shows a work in progress. It tells a story. That's what people want. People want a story. You are the story. You are the hero, literally, right? And you are telling your story of how you're doing this and how you're going about it online. So people get attached to you. They are attracted to you. They want to see your story. They want to see how you turn out. Did you defeat Darth Vader at the end, right? Or did he cut your hand like Luke Skywalker? That's the idea right there, right? I add value first. So now the second thing is I need to make money out of this thing, right? I cannot just go about and adding value. As much as I'd like to give everything away for free, we live in a world where you need to sort of make something in order to eat, right? So here's what I do. I have products. I have digital products and I have offline services that I offer to people. Before that, no. First up, digital products. Before that, I offer online courses for people to buy, right? That's my first product that I've sort of created. It's a digital product, an information product. I've put a lot of time and effort into developing those courses. And I've put so much love, or I wouldn't say love. What is that thing? That passion is too much of a word. Love is too wimpy of a word for me. Do you get the idea? That some good form of feeling into those courses. And I want to people derive value from that, because I've spent so many years developing those skills. And I'm sort of taking that, packaging that, and structuring it in such a way that's easier for you to understand. Now, of course, I'm being selfish about it in the sense that I want you to sort of say, man, when I was 18 years old, I remember taking this course from this Kesh guy, and he was like, that completely changed the way my art process works. Because that's what happened to me with, from the online courses that I've taken from other people. Shout out to Max Grecke. I remember taking a $5 class from that guy, and I was absolutely blown away from what I've created from that class. It's just one of his process painting videos or something. See, that's amazing, right? That's the kind of thing that I'm doing. So I sell online courses and products. Next up, I do offer offline services, which is through workshops, which I don't do much these days because my online course business is sort of picking off and doing well. To give you sort of a number, we approximately did anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 in sales in the past couple of months. Now, I'm not throwing this number to sort of show off or brag off, and I just want you to know that I'm not just some random guy who talks crap on the internet without having done it first, right? That's the idea. For me, that is enough. I'd like more, obviously. Because I live in India, I don't need much. For me, most Indians, most good middle-class Indians would be better off doing, say, on $1,000 a month thing, right? They can do really well, actually. If you just move to India, guys, if you want to be an artist, just move to India, make money, make $25,000, $30,000, you'll be rich as hell, right here. So yeah, anyways, of course, my goal is to sort of build this into, a six-figure, hopefully multiple six-figure business. But this was a proof of concept, which I did in the past couple of months, right? Since last July, I've built one course, another one. And right now I have an idea of how these things work. I'm working on my bigger course which I want to absolutely throw value into that thing and give it away to people. And I'm also doing a free form of a course, which is sort of like going to be acting like a beginner's drawing course for people, where people who don't have any clue or who don't have their foundations right, they can take that thing, which is going to be the best course out there. I'm not even kidding, right? I'm not saying this to sort of promote that thing or something like that. I'm giving that thing away for free, and I have this weird goal, which I don't want to talk about my goals anymore, but so I'm not going to say that. I want to reach a large amount of people and add value to them and hopefully they'll be gaining something of use from those things. I want people to say, man, I got so much value out of this course. Man, I did 100 days of sketching and that changed my life, right? That's what I want. That is amazing. That's a good thing right there, right? That's what I'm working towards. And also offered or used to offer other online services such as freelance illustration services, and also do freelance video production things for people. So when I was working in an ad agency, what I did was I learned how to make brand videos for brands. Right? Then what I did was, when I got out of the agency, I learned that I can actually make it by myself for other people and making a good living out of it. So I did that for a while. I did motion graphics work here and there. I did some illustration work here and there. But for me, it was always been, YouTube has been fairly good for me in the sense of ad revenue, but also I get sponsorship deals and from brands, and I don't work with a lot of them. I turn down a lot of them because for some reason I'm getting a lot of deals from these software companies. Some of them which I use, some of them I'm not sure if I want to use or not. So yeah, anyways. So that's how you do it. That's how you go about it and execute it. That's how I do it. So the next couple of steps is for me to diversify the way I'm doing it. So I'm going to be launching physical products and physical things, like I'm putting together a drawing collections book. As an artist, right? I've done so much artworks over the years. I want to put that, collect it into a book and give it away for people. Now, that isn't just the value that I'm adding through that book isn't enough for me. So I'm going to sort of create a character design course to sort of go along with people. So for some people who want to have books, they want to hold it, they want to flip through it, that's of value to them. And the character design class or a course will be of additional value to them, right? And they can go about like, hey, you know what? I love the illustration that I'm seeing in this book. How do I do that? Boom, class, right? Boom, like that. So you get the idea. So that's the kind of thing that I'm doing, right? Of course, I'm going to slowly scale this thing up and over the years. And right now I'm sort of working with other talented artists in the industry. To name a few, one, I'm working with Sri Priyatham, this wonderful caricature artist. And another one is Tathagatha Paul. He's this super good hyperrealism artist, right? I want to make proper classes and programs out of their skills, and I want to share those skills, and I want you to derive value from those things, right? That's the idea, slowly working my way towards building good quality products in the long run. And I also want to make movies in the future, but the model for that thing is completely different. I'll talk about that later. But this is how I'm doing it. I'm in the phase of putting in the grind, putting in the work, eating crap for the next couple of years so that I build a solid foundation. Even though I have a decent foundation, I want to build even more of a solid foundation, right? So this is how I do it. I want to give you guys, another business model example. Of course, all of these business models of people that I'm talking about is that what I've observed from my point of view, right? And these are the artists who I absolutely admire, right? And they haven't told me personally, but I think I have a good idea on how things work. So anyways, Jake Parker is one, and Jake Parker is a fantastic artist. He's an absolute inspiration for me in the sense he's a good businessman. He's a good businessman and a good artist. Very hard to come by, and he's very good with the social media. Okay, let's talk about how Jake Parker does it, right? Jake adds value through his YouTube profile and Instagrams. He shares his process. He makes drawings and he puts it out on his profiles, right? Then he has built a following because of that, right? And he's got this good skill of being a draftsman, being a character designer, being an illustrator, right? Through that, he does children's books. He makes comics. He does freelance character design. I think one of his character designs appeared in this Netflix movie. What was that thing? Some Space Invader Zim on Netflix, right? So he does that. And he also, what he does is, he launches his own products, right? He launched his Sky Heart comic through Kickstarter. He launched his drawings books through Kickstarter. And he also has his own school called svslearn.com with partnered with other artists, where he produces his own courses and classes and things like that over there, right? And he this is how it sort of goes. adding free value, adding free value, adding free value. And because of that, people sort of are exposed to your world. So when you're offering something of, say, in exchange for money, they may or may not buy it. Again, that's how it works. That's how you got to go about. Gary Vee, an entrepreneur, he says this: jab, 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 right hook. What does that mean? You jab, you give value, you give value, you give value, and not receive. It's not about receiving. You ask. Jab, 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 and ask, and people might decide. So that's sort of like a way bigger, metaphorical, esoteric way of looking at things, but it takes a lot to be going down that, it takes a lot to go down that road, at least for me, right? So that's how you do it, right? So Jake Parker, and also he does, he sells prints, posters, stickers. He makes his own products. He's got the school. That's one way. That's how Jake Parker is doing it, right? Like, and another one is Alicia's house. I told you, right? She sells merch, and she sells that through her store, and she also does freelance design illustrations. I always keep seeing her illustration pop here and there, right? Why? Because she's put her work out there on Instagram, and people and brands and companies reach out to her because they're exposed to her work through that, and they're asking, hey, you know what? Can you do an illustration for me, like that? Right. Another example is Mamta Singh. Mamta Singh has a successful workshop business where she's teaching people doodling. She's got, her workshop is sort of entertainment information rather than just pure information. She has fun with people in terms of teaching her how to doodle, teaching people how to doodle. Right. She's even been on this podcast. You can go listen to that podcast on how she has sort of set up her business model, and she's also been a successful muralist. Right. She's probably done over 300 walls or something. That is pretty damn impressive. So that's an example right there. In the workshop world, in the information world, like I told you, Chaya Prabhat, freelance illustrator. Gal Sher is another, what do you call this thing? Artist on Instagram. And he puts out these really short videos on him drawing on his iPad, right? That's very interesting to watch. And you can actually go to his shop, buy his book on how he actually does things, and you can buy his brushes, and how, because he creates his own custom made brushes, which you can't get anywhere, right? That's how you do it. And by the way, you're thinking, man, how do I make money selling $5 brushes? Sell $5 brushes to 100,000 people. And you ask me if we can make money or not, right? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying this is the kind of possibilities and potential that the new social media world is offering for you, right? It's not easy, but it's doable, and tons of people are doing it. I'm not saying you should go down that route. You should probably go offline and start a brick and mortar store and sell artworks. You need to see what really works for you. Again, self-awareness, right? So these are some examples that I've sort of picked up. Like I told you, Ross Tran is another example. He sells tutorials and he makes books. He just launched his Kickstarter for his book called Nima a couple of years back. It was successful, and he's completed his book, and he also sells exclusive tutorials for his patrons on Patreon, right? Mitch Luby is another artist who sells these good books on PDFs on how to draw on different subjects like character design, human anatomy, animal design, things like that. And he also puts out free versions of his tutorial on Instagram. There you go, people. The business model is plenty. It's just out there. There's so many out there. The ways by which you can make money and a living as an artist. It's so much. It's plenty. Now, the question of the day, right? The question for you that you need to be asking yourself is, what is it that works for you? What is that interests you? Are you actually interested in creating products? Are you actually interested in selling some sort of entertainment? Are you interested in selling or giving out something for someone, right? You need to ask yourself that question, and you need to see which process do you like, not the end result. Because man, I'm telling you, Don't just look at the end result. Do you actually like the process of teaching? Do you actually like the process of entertaining? Do you actually like the process of creating products and businesses and things for people to buy? Right? Do you like the process of selling your services? Do you like the process of selling, giving freelance illustrations and drawings and things like that? Ask yourself that question. That is the question of the day right there. You know what? Don't waste your time thinking and pondering and so much. Pick something and go at it. Drop a comment down below. What are you going to do? Look, you don't have to come up with the right answer right now. You just need to come up with a answer, with a simple answer, so that you can work upon that answer in the future, in the coming months. But pick something, start your car, start your engines, and start driving, right? That's the idea. That's how you do it. And a special tip for those beginner artists out there who are starting out: don't think about making money right now. You shouldn't be thinking about making money right now, because you'll be sacrificing a lot if you're aiming to make money as an artist right now. I've seen a lot of people who are not good at their skill and their craft, and their offering is really bad, and they're sort of being like a snake oil salesman, and they're selling it to people. They're setting themselves up for failure. Trust me, it's gonna come to bite you a couple of years down the road, and you don't want that, right? First, focus on adding value. First, focus on building your brand. First, focus on learning your craft, getting good at your craft. Have something useful, right? At the end of the day, you need to be useful for yourself before you can be useful for other people. That is the punchline right there, right? So yeah, that's the idea. Of course, the topics, I thought I had a good wrapping on how I presented this on this podcast, but for me, I don't think I've done a good enough job in explaining this to you guys. So I want to do more future podcasts in the coming months and weeks, discussing different kinds of business models in detail and different things, right? Because this is a good world for me. This is something that I'm absolutely interested in, and I want to sort of share that with you guys, give you guys a roadmap, and also ideas to learn. I need to learn in the process of doing it as well, right? I'm sharing my process right here, which is I'm sort of learning by doing. So an example would, another great example would be coming up on the next podcast, which is Ronak Mangothil. He's a successful startup founder, and I had a really long, good conversation with him on his startup called Fully Filmy. They make artsy, creative, filmy merchandises based on Indian movies, right? And they have been doing that for the past 5 years or something. They have built this into a very successful brand and a startup. And I spoke with him, and he's another good example of a good business model. So that podcast will be coming out the end of this month, and that should give you an idea. So, hey, you know what? That's a start right there, right? So, yep. That's again. That's again. I'm blabbering right now. I think we're into the 1 hour mark or something. So I'm blabbering right now. Thank you for watching or listening to this podcast. Stay safe. Please stay inside. Treat the coronavirus situation. You don't have to treat it seriously, but you don't have to treat it lightly either. Wash your hands for 20 seconds. Be good, and so I don't know. God bless or something. Take care. Bye bye.